I'm going to take just a minute where I'm going to give you my take on cryptocurrencies. Now, I'm a fan of alternative currencies, and I'm a fan of competition. Competition is a process where you delineate, the bad traits and things that people don't want, and you have a service or a product that over time there's a discovery process, and people choose the best service or best product. And so we have fiat currencies, you have crypto, you have precious metals that could function as a currency. But 20 years ago or more, I'm old enough to remember this. There were things like PayPal, where it was like e-gold, or it was people would make certificates where it was like a token. It'd be like a gold or silver as a token that they can use as currency online. And they all got raided by the IRS basically for violating legal tender laws. This is part of, it's a codified law on the federal level where this maintains the dollar's monopoly on currency. And then we got cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and others where they get around this because they're, quote, tokens, right? But they're not usable anywhere else except for online. And people jumped on the idea. They said things like, well, the dollar's fiat currency. Crypto, there's only so much. It's, a blockchain, and you can only have, so much of it, and, yada, yada. The problem is that it's not, as they say, they claim that it was anonymous, and it most certainly isn't. You can actually track and trace a Bitcoin. It's like an address. It's like a code that you could track. It's almost like using a credit card. And you have to do all this verification and everything else. So it's not anonymous at all. These same people, it's like they forgot that there was somebody that was, there were people that were trying to do the same thing with gold and silver, and it had the same principles. It's not fiat, but the IRS rated that, but they didn't touch the crypto. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is. Because I think that our elites, the globalists, the people running the Federal Reserve at the top, they want people to get onto a cryptocurrency. They want to make like a United States dollar coin, but the Federal Reserve wants to control that. And they want to do that to get more control over people. But this crypto was just conditioning. In other words, in my opinion, I think, at least in part, that Bitcoin is a psyop. You could very well transfer, you can very well use gold or silver as the base, as the as like a reserve, like as a reserve currency online. And actually, if you think about it, that would work really well, because you can use it online, you can use it offline, and then it would be global, right? The internet's global, and you could do, it's exchangeable with any currency. But instead, our governments would not allow that, but they would allow this sort of fake stuff that could be manipulated, that's used for, it's used like by, people that do crimes too. It's like money laundering and everything else. But our governments can track all that stuff. So Bitcoin is not about an alternative to the dollar, although you could make that argument. It's actually about getting people to not use gold and silver as the alternative to fiat currencies. That's my take on crypto.